says that I kill a woman. That's what he said. It wasn't making any sense to me. But when I saw the stuff, I'm like, oh.
On July 25, 2016, in Bend, Oregon, police officer Isabel Ponce Lara was about to expose her 31-year-old husband, Edwin Lara, and his horrifying secret. Just a day earlier, on the humid night of July 24th, 23-year-old Kaylee Sawyer vanished from the parking lot of her apartment complex. Within 48 hours, Edwin became a fugitive, running, hiding, and carrying a dark truth.
So I threw her down and my head over rock on the head. After that, I dragged her body, my head over rock.
But that was only part of the story, because Edwin had filmed something that would send shockwaves across the internet.
If your intent isn't already there to do some kind of harm or some kind of evil to her, some friggin' evil that's there, bro, it's there.
By the end of this questioning, only one question remains. Was it guilt, or just the performance of a killer on a spree?
So you hit her with the car. That's an accident.
Yeah.
Why?
On July 23, 2016, Kaylee Sawyer was heading home after a friend's bachelorette party. Her boyfriend Cameron picked her up and drove her back to their apartment complex. When they arrived, Cameron walked off. Kaylee stayed behind, but when he returned, she was gone. Her passenger door was open, but there was no sign of her. At first, he assumed she went for a walk. He texted her, but her phone soon died. Hours passed with no response. Her parents hadn't heard from her either. By morning, when Kaylee was still nowhere to be found, Cameron called 911.
Hi. I'm not sure if this is quite the right number to call. Last night I got home from the bars with my girlfriend, and she got upset at me and ran off. And I chased her and wasn't able to find her, and I still haven't heard from her. Her phone's off. I called all her family, and they haven't heard from her, so I'm wondering what you recommend I do.
We can put in a call, and we can have officers or deputies look for her.
Okay.
Where was she last seen at?
College Way.
In that apartment complex?
Yes.
In a specific apartment, or?
In the parking lot. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then I guess she said her phone was about to die, and then I couldn't get a hold of her after that. I haven't heard from her since.
Okay. She took off on foot?
Yes.
And with that, the search for Kaylee began. No leads, no signs, no answers. But 2 days later, the case broke wide open when a police officer named Isabel Ponce Lara rushed to the station with grim findings and a statement that shook the detectives.
I was usually sleeping.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm already awake. I'm like, but you could continue sleeping. So he stayed in bed and I got up. I went outside, turned on the water, sprinklers, turned on TV, was watching TV, and I was just waiting for him. So I could sleep in the morning. So he comes out of the room and his eyes were all teary. That's what I'm like, what happened? Tell me what happened. What's wrong? So he sits on the sofa. I turn off the TV. And then he just says that. He's like, I kill a woman. That's what he said. And I'm like, what do you mean? What did you do?
Did he say, I hit her in a panic?
He said, I don't remember exactly the words that he said, but he said something that he hit her with the car.
Yeah.
And then he panicked.
Okay.
So then I asked him, like, that's what I was trying for him to explain to me. So you hit her with the car. That's an accident.
Yeah.
Why? what do you mean you panic? What do you mean?
And what did he say?
He just kept saying I panic, and at that point he's already like he got up and he's already like going into the room and walking back and forth. And I'm not really quite understanding what he's telling me.
Being a cop, it wasn't unusual for Isabel to notice the troubling unease within Edwin as the day prior, on Sunday, they went to watch a movie after their weekly church visit. They even went to watch a movie afterwards, with Isabel having no clue that behind the mask of a loving husband, Edwin was slowly being consumed by the weight of a horrible crime, one that would shatter her reality.
He walks to the bedroom. I think at some point I followed him there, and I'm like, explain to me what happened. And then he's like, okay, so then he says, at some point, I don't remember, it was back at the living room, or went up, because he was just walking back and forth. He said that he hit her with the car at work. And I asked him, well, is there any signs that you hit her or what? And then he said that it was because of the grill. That no, there was no signs. And then I'm like, so what did you do with the body? What? And he's like, I hit her. And I'm like, and then I kept asking him, what does it got to do with you hitting her and now you panic and you hit the body? He wouldn't.
So it didn't make sense to you?
It wasn't making sense to me. It was pretty brief. It wasn't. Before he left, he's like, there's her stuff in the shed.
How did you say it? Say it again.
He said something in regards to her stuff is in the shed.
Her stuff is in the shed.
And I think it's because I kept telling him, it doesn't make sense. It's like, you're lying to me. It's not. So I feel like he told me that. So I could go see it and say, oh, it is true.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't making sense to me. And I think he was seeing that like I wasn't believing it. Like it felt like a movie. Like it just.
And just like that, a wife's worst nightmare became real. The loving and faithful husband was a cold-hearted murderer all along. But Isabel had to hold herself together because Edwin wasn't finished. After revealing only half the truth, he took off in their car, marking the beginning of a very disturbing crime spree. But in a shocking turn of events, Edwin was caught on July 26, 2016, and he wasn't alone. With him was 19-year-old Andrea Mays, a name that would soon raise even more questions. What happened next inside the interrogation room would reveal just how depraved his crimes truly were.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
My name is Sergeant Beckwith.
I'm Matt.
Wait, I shouldn't introduce myself because you have no names.
We know a little bit, right?
Well, all I gotta say is that I want to go home.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do everything possible to go home.
Yes, sir. And home meaning Oregon?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course,
because-
home, right?
Yeah, we're working on that as well. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's something we're working on.
Just so you know, initially,
You back up just a little bit.
we're going to ask you some questions about the MVA, that stands for the motor vehicle accident, all that stuff, okay? Before we do so, I'm going to advise you of at least your Miranda rights before he gets into the consulate information section. You do have the right to remain silent. We've spent the last 16 hours talking to Isabel, finding out stuff about you with your family and those kinds of things. I know you got a heart that's probably pretty heavy and you want to tell us some stuff about the vehicle accident, and that's why we're here, okay? So it's important that you hear what I just said to you. I want to make sure that you understand those rights that I just read to you.
We have not been able to.
but I want to get home first.
Okay. So here's what I know about this. Hear me out, sir. We can't change what happened, the three of us in this room. And people will care more about what happens right now than what happened before. So we know that you've been talking to some people, et cetera, right? And because we have different jurisdictions, I can assure you that right now the DA's office is working on allowing us to take you back to Oregon, okay? But they're still working on that, okay? So in the meantime, we need to consider some things, okay? If this information gets to other people that you were like, hell yeah, I'm gonna tell you, but only until I get what I want, they might try to think of this about something different than what it is, right? And so what I've determined is, and we've looked at this a bunch of times, is I don't think you're a bad guy, right? I think that things have spun completely out of control, sir. Sir, am I right? Okay. But that being said, you know from your training and your education that we have a massive load of resources right now dedicated to one thing, and that's to serve the victim's family, okay? And they need that, and they need that right now. And so I need you to remember that it doesn't matter so much about what happened as what you do now.
Yeah. And you know this, man.
Matt wants to do a map.
So before, can I say the story of what happened first?
Edwin somehow avoids eye contact with the officers, which is a possible sign of guilt, and he has every reason to feel guilty. In the end, it appeared as if the same guilt that consumed him turned himself in. But what truly happened that day, and where exactly is Kaylee's body? The question looms large in the interrogation as Edwin sits contemplating his actions, and he reveals her whereabouts, somewhere no one expected.
Yeah, as you're drawing, please, or whatever you'd like to do, sir. You want us to get you out of that stuff?
Highway from, yeah.
Hey, look, you asked if we can get him out of that stuff so we can
The highway from Redmond to Salem, that's 120, right?
I think it's 126.
126.
So that's Highway 126.
126 highway.
Mm-hmm.
That's going towards Salem.
Correct.
Do you know that Deschutes River?
Deschutes River.
That's
Okay, are we
Deschutes
closer to Redmond?
River. Closer to Redmond?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so about, I'm thinking maybe not even 10 miles. Just keep going. Okay. There's a mailbox right here. It reads 18700. It's right across.
It's going to be on the south side of the road. So if this is north, like the...
yeah, that's north. It's going to be on the south side.
Okay. And this is going to be east towards Redmond, correct? And this is going to be west towards Sisters.
Oh, you're okay with him to come?
Okay. Are you left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Here? Yeah. This is a map he's driven.
Yeah.
This is the Deschutes River, Highway 126 from Redmond towards Sisters. Yeah. There's a mailbox with this number on it. He said it's directly across from this mailbox on the south side of the highway. How far off the highway?
It's just right there. You'll see it right away.
It says you'll see it right away.
Buried in the ditch.
Is it buried or?
It's not buried. It's
Just in the ditch itself?
just in the ditch.
Okay, south side of the highway across from that mailbox. Correct.
You're doing good, Edwin. You know what? This is not easy. You might be a little bit scared. We're going to hear what you have to say. We really, really want to. I'm thankful, and so is Sergeant Beckwith, that you know what the right thing to do is right now, and that's to help us locate her for her family, for the community, for us, for you, for your wife, all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm thankful to you. I want to say that right away, that you hear what this man has to say, and that you've got a heart inside of you. And I know, because I was in your house. I saw the Bible. I know you thumb through it a lot. I see that you've tithed for months consecutively. I know you have God in your heart, okay? And that's just not a trick. That's eternal, right? You know that.
It's almost baffling that Edwin sees himself as a man of God. After murdering Kaylee, he attended church. Then, with the same so-called faith in his heart, he barreled into a violent interstate rampage, leaving more victims in his wake. It all started that fateful night of July 23rd, 2019, when Kaylee was still alive.
So I was putting the signs up where there's an event going on at
It's a
school,
college,
college. It's a cyclist event. You know, I was in a hurry because I want to get out of here. And I was going to turn south on College Way on the D4 lot. So I was going to turn south on the do not enter area there. And I didn't see her. She was wearing all black. So I was in a hurry, so it was my fault. And I wasn't expecting anybody, you know, at that time of night. So I just turned and I mean, I didn't hit her that hard. I just bumped her with the patrol car, bumped her with the front rack. And she fell down. And at first I thought, you know, first thing I was, oh, I killed her, you know, but I didn't hit her that hard. So I got out the car and she was really drunk. And then she looks at me and then she started screaming.
She started screaming
Yeah.
or you did?
She did. So I panicked and I just grabbed her by the throat and told her, shut up, shut up, shut up. So she passed out. Put her on the back of the patrol car, drove her up the B12 lot, and then I was panicking. I didn't know what to do. She already seen me. She saw my face. So I opened the door, and that's when she came back. She started screaming again. So I grabbed the charcoal, and I was telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. She was just struggling to scream. So I threw her down and I hit her with a rock on the head. After that, I dragged her body behind a tree there and I hit her with a rock. And that's when I think she died because I heard her breathing her last breath. And then with her body there, I went to the Zama gym.
But that was only half the truth. That night, Edwin had just finished his graveyard shift as a security guard at Bend College in Oregon, and Kaylee, still upset from her fight with her boyfriend, was wandering near campus, unaware that a predator's eyes had locked onto her. She was alone, vulnerable, and when Edwin approached, offering her a ride under the guise of kindness, she had no reason to suspect the real danger, and that became her biggest mistake. Edwin, seizing the opportunity, threw himself on her. In other words, he mercilessly assaulted her. But once he realized she had seen his face, he knew he couldn't let her live. So he did exactly what he had just confessed to, and what followed was the cold, calculated work of a murderer.
I tried to wash off everything, all the dirt from my glove. I had a stain on my shirt. I was wearing the bike patrol shirt. I had a red stain. I couldn't take that off, so I started washing my pants and my boots on the Mizama gym. I went into the men's restroom right in front of the main entrance of the south entrance of Mizama. Then after being there, I just walked towards the women's gym or shower, and I went into the shower and I started washing off all the dirt in my pants. And then I looked at the watch and it was like 1:50 or whatever, and my shift was almost over. And I know Adam Nieder was in the office, So I'm like, hey, I'm usually never late. I'm out of here right when my shift ends. So I better get there. So I got there like around 2:01 or something like that. I was full of dirt, and he wanted to talk to me about something. And I wasn't facing him because I saw this scratch in my face. And I was scared that he was going to see it because I knew that you guys were going to investigate us. I knew that for a fact. Because I'm not dealing with stupid people, right?
Yes.
So I panicked and, I just let him talk, and I acted like I was doing something on the computer, and I was just saying, oh, yes, yes. And I tried telling him something, but I was so nervous that I don't think he was able to understand me, what I was saying. He goes, what? And I said it again, and he wasn't able to understand me. So at the end, I think he just left it like that. He didn't ask me any more questions. But I don't think he realized anything bad. I just think he probably thought I was tired or something. Because I told him, I'm tired, I want to go home. Then, when I was walking out, I'm like, okay, I need to get rid of her because if they find her out in the Boy 12 lot, they're gonna know it was one of us, and it's gonna be me because Adam was in the office, all night long, right, doing some paperwork. So I drove back up there, I put on my car, I grabbed a trash can first from the Boyle Education Center, from the custodial room. I grabbed a trash can or a trash bag. I drove up the hill again and just put her head inside the bag. Put her in the trunk of my car and just drove out of there.
Your personal car? Yeah. Which car's that?
The Nissan. You guys haven't found that yet?
Yeah, we found it.
Okay.
But it's not fair for me to put words in your mouth, So I ask. So what happened next?
So I drove her to a ditch by close to my parents' house, and she was kind of heavy, so I just grabbed her and pretty much ripped everything off her, like her clothes, threw her in the ditch, and then I went back home and I was like, okay, they gotta find her pretty quick, so I gotta move her and put her somewhere else that they're gonna be able to find her. So next day, actually it was the following night, while my wife was sleeping, I just got up without her noticing that I was, that I left, and I wanted to move the body again.
It remains a point of contention whether Edwin truly moved the body out of fear, because someone who's gripped by paranoia doesn't embark on an interstate rampage, taking hostages and terrorizing strangers. What's even more surprising are the claims he's about to make.
And at this time I was feeling really bad, because I've never killed anybody yet. I feel really bad about her, about the girl. She didn't deserve to die. And I was feeling really bad about my wife too. Because she's my everything. And I know that most likely I will die in prison, And that's going to be one of the things that I'm going to think in my heart. Is and the regret of killing this girl. And I know this is being recorded, and apologize to the parents. To the dad, I know the dad has been looking for her nonstop. I apologize. She looked like a really nice girl. She didn't deserve what I did. So,
following day after I moved her body, the second time, or the first time, second time, I should say. I woke up with this thing in my heart, like heavy, and I'm like, so I knew that from the moment I told my wife she's going to turn me in, because I know her. And she loves her job and she loves what she's doing now. I knew she was going to do it, no matter how much she loves me. So I told her with that purpose. I told her, I killed this girl. I'm gonna walk out of here. I'm gonna drive out of here. You do your thing. She's like, why are you putting me in that spot? I'm like, because I know you're gonna do the right thing. I know you're not gonna be my accomplice because you're not that type of woman. So she kept telling me, please don't leave. Just turn yourself in, turn yourself in. And I'm like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life in prison. Yeah. I don't want to get death penalty. I want that.
Well, but he would be spending the rest of his life in prison, because even though he expresses regret for killing Kaylee, he has not yet told the actual truth of how things had unfolded that day, and how 19-year-old Andrea Mays ended up in his car. But his statements support the claim that he executed a well-thought-out plan to get rid of all the traces.
Did you have some of Kaylee's stuff at the house?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about that, please?
Okay, so I grabbed it from the patrol car and I put it in my car with the intention of getting rid of it, because I actually grabbed her phone from the purse with my bare hands. I didn't use any gloves. So I was scared that my fingerprints were going to be all over that purse. So I grabbed the purse and I put it in the car because I'm like, well, I don't think there's fingerprints in her body. But there's fingerprints on the purse, so I can leave the purse here. So I grabbed the purse, and when I was driving out of the campus on Portland Avenue, I threw the phone on the Chutes River. Is that the Chutes River? On the park?
Yes.
So I threw the phone in the river.
Which phone is that?
Her phone.
Where was it?
It was in her purse.
In her purse. Why did you throw it in the river?
Because they were gonna find it. If I throw it somewhere else. And I mean, I knew sooner or later I was gonna get caught. And for a fact. And
you was trying to buy some time?
I was trying to buy some time so I can say bye to my family.
Did you talk to your family after this?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
Not so good. My grandpa told me that I screwed up my life. My mom and dad couldn't believe it. Or my stepdad, I should say. He's like my dad. Couldn't believe it. They were very concerned about me. My wife just kept telling me to stop what you're doing, turn yourself in, where you at.
And that was when Edwin made his move. He took off, stealing Isabel's gun and car. After ditching the vehicle at his parents' house, wandering aimlessly until he spotted 19-year-old Andrea Mays resting in her car after a grueling 12-hour shift. That's when his devious plan took shape. He approached her at gunpoint and forced her to drive. As they sped down the road, Edwin pulled out a picture of himself in his security uniform and casually brought up Kaylee's murder, mentioning the news coverage surrounding it. For 3 hours, Andrea had no choice but to listen as he ranted about what he had done. Then, as night fell, they pulled into a motel. CCTV footage captured the moment Edwin and Andrea checked in. He had forced her to act as his girlfriend, But what happened inside that motel room was nothing short of a nightmare. After checking in, Edwin took a shower, keeping Andrea handcuffed to ensure she couldn't escape. Then he ordered her to strip and shower in front of him. But when she refused outright, Edwin, frustrated by the refusal, cuffed her to the bed and forced her to take sleeping pills. His intent was clear. He wanted her unconscious. At that moment, her phone alarm went off. Thinking fast, Andrea seized the opportunity and told him she had an STD and that the alarm was her reminder to take medication. And it was that quick thinking that prevented her from getting assaulted that night. But Edwin was already growing paranoid. The very next morning, he left the motel and kept driving until 5 a.m. when he stopped at another one. It was during this time that he spotted a 73-year-old man, and another ruthless opportunity presented itself. Edwin approached him, attempting to steal his car. When the man resisted, Edwin shot him in cold blood, but despite his attempt, he failed to take the vehicle. Panicked, Edwin fled the scene with Andrea on foot, making their way to a nearby gas station. But his crime spree wasn't over yet. Soon, he carjacked a 76-year-old woman and her 2 grandsons. At gunpoint, he tormented them, forcing one of the boys to drive while he sat in the back seat. Once he was done with them, he let them go but kept the car, continuing his desperate escape. Amidst his grand escape, in a move that raised questions about his true nature and motives, he filmed something on Andrea's phone footage that would later send shockwaves across social media. It's debatable whether Edwin truly felt remorse or was merely seeking attention, as shortly after recording the video, he instructed Andrea to post it on Facebook with the caption, "Murderer on the loose." Then, even more shockingly, he made a call to the police himself.
From me already?
Yeah.
And yeah, I just want to say I am going to turn myself in. So, you know, I am wanted for murder in the state of Oregon.
Okay. Edwin,
Yeah.
where are you at right now?
I have no idea.
Hey, what's your name?
Andrea.
Andrea, what's your last name?
Maes, M-A-E-S.
Okay, are you hurt at all, Andrea?
No.
No? Okay. Do you know where you are? Let me talk to Edwin again.
But I want to ask you a favor. No.
Okay. The officer sees you, and are you able to safely stop?
Yeah, I can stop, but not right now. I just don't want to stop right here in the middle of the road, you know, putting myself in danger and putting everybody else in danger, more in danger, I guess.
You know, they won't. They're aware. I'll let them know they won't. But if you can stop safely, they just don't want you to run. They think you're going to run or anything.
Okay.
Edwin, do you have any weapons with you?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I do have a gun on me. I am not going to flash the gun, so you tell them not to shoot me.
Okay.
No, I don't want to die.
Okay, you stick by your word, though. I'll let them know.
Yeah, I'm going to let them know.
It's almost nerve-wracking to hear Edwin being concerned about not causing violence after harming so many innocent civilians. His actions and words are quite bizarre for a textbook criminal, but he had no idea that the interrogation room would rip away all his fabricated lies and bring him to face the music.
So a couple things you need to understand, and we're finally getting to the real problem here. We really are. Is you knew she was never getting out the car the moment you shut that door. Well, let me finish. You need to let me finish, right? Because I know this, okay? Because you said you were. She's like, no. Immediately you go to give me your purse and your phone.
Well, I knew she wasn't gonna get out.
She wasn't gonna survive that encounter, was she?
No,
Because you can't her and let her live, can you?
And she can't make a phone call if
I
you
wasn't,
have it.
I wasn't gonna rape her.
Well, you can't let her live.
Edwin, we're missing something here, man.
Look, yeah, I know what you guys are thinking, and it makes perfect sense. It does.
Because
Why would you ask?
where you
Why
got-
would you ask for her purse? What was in your head that made you want her purse?
Because, you know,
Just in case she had a gun, she could defend
was-
herself.
She was gonna use her phone.
to call 911, call for help.
So, but listen to this. According to your story, this is where it does not make sense. If your intent isn't already there to do some kind of harm or some kind of evil to her, some friggin' evil that's there, bro. It's there. You just gotta face it down, man. You can't cower away from it. You face that damn thing down right now. If you know the only way, if you don't have intent in her head, your thought is, I gotta keep that phone away from her because she's gonna call for help before anything bad's even happened. You've already made a decision. Am I right or am I wrong? Tell me.
So I made the decision at that time to silence her.
To kill her. Let's be real. When you say silence her, you mean kill her. Is that correct?
Because
When did you make that decision?
when she started screaming, because she had seen my face.
But you already grabbed her phone. You already kept her away from making a call for help or contacting someone. So you're already preserving yourself. So I'm thinking it's before, when you ask for the purse, I think you already know in your head, I'm going to silence her. I'm going to kill her. Why else would you ask?
So when she gave me her, like she had her phone, because I knew her phone was back there. Like it just clicked on my head, and I put her purse back there. Her phone is in there, you know. So I told her, give me purse. So that
Tell me exactly how you said, give me your purse. Say exactly how you said it.
Okay, so I went, give me your purse.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Okay.
So she hands over the purse, and I'm like, your phone is not in here. And she goes, yes, it is. So I start digging in the purse with this hand, and I find the phone, and it's there. So, and you know, very relieved. But at this time, she's struggling with the door, and I'm telling her, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
You know why you felt relieved when you found that phone? You know why? Tell me why you felt
She
relieved.
wasn't calling her help
And she was never going to get away.
because she had seen my face already.
I'm sorry to see your face. And you already knew what you were going to do.
No.
You were going to silence her. You already told us that.
Well, yeah, but
Why else would you grab her phone?
Because from the moment, that's when I knew that she wasn't. You know,
And she's going to tell. She's going to say something.
if I let her out of the car, she's gonna go say, "Hey, you know, security guard or something."
Do you have dominion over a woman?
Dominion?
Mm-hmm. Dominant. Is there anything about her life that means less than yours? Okay.
But you told us earlier when you were trying to carjack people in Salem, you wanted a woman who was weaker.
Weaker woman, because I knew a guy was gonna fight me and I didn't want to kill anybody.
Right? So you have dominion.
I don't
What
necessarily.
I guess what I'm getting at with that question is that at some point or another, something as minor as an offensive comment, are you? I mean, honestly, what we've approached there is you possibly losing your job for offending somebody. Okay, people are offended every day. People lose their job for offending people every day. That all of a sudden became more important than the life of a human being that you say is equal.
I think she honestly thought that I was gonna do something.
You were, man. And when that's
Because-
the problem right now, you were. You absolutely.
At first I wasn't.
Yes, you were.
No, I wasn't.
Well, sir, let me back up. Let's just settle this right now. When you saw that girl and you picked her up, were your intentions to help her because you are a security guard on the campus and people look up to you, was your intent to find some way to help her? Or was your intent to find a way to either by paying or take? And when things went south, you knew you had to kill her.
That was exactly what had happened. He had his intentions clear the very moment he laid his eyes on Kaylee, and he would have done the same with Andrea had it not been for her quick thinking. But as the moments seep in, Edwin has no option but to confess the truth.
So when I picked her up, because usually when we help someone, we call her on the radio.
Did you call her on the radio?
No, because I thought she was. And I asked why.
That's why I didn't call her on the radio.
That's why I didn't call her on the radio. And when I realized she wasn't up, I felt discovered. Oh, crap. Now she's gonna go tell the whole world that I was looking for.
Oh, wow. How weird would that be for a dude to be looking for? See what I'm saying? And that's not that bad.
Dudes
right?
look for
Dudes look for.
Well, yeah, but not a security guard that is supposed to protect.
Well, I think you just said it, man.
Another random dude walking on the street.
So are we lucky in the fact that the first time you can't control your urge to have a beautiful woman, that we catch you and you give up and we find you, et cetera, et cetera? I don't believe so. I believe there's been instances in the past that maybe you were close, something was happened, well, maybe something's going to happen here, and backed away, whatever. Has there ever been a time like that?
And what he means by take it into consideration is this, man. Bluntly, you've betrayed that trust. Okay? The sound that you heard after the strike of the first rock, before you hit her with the second, is agonal breathing, and you know this. It's the sound of life leaving her body. It's the sound of the life God breathed into her, leaving her, and her life being no more, going away, being done. It's the sound of everyone loving her, mourning. It's the sound of her blood crying out from the friggin' earth. Right? You know this. It's Cain and Abel. No. No. You know what it is? You need to hear it though. Okay? I respect you enough, Edwin, at this point, that I've asked you for detail, and now I'm going to give you my own. Okay? Those are the cold, hard facts. Does God still love you? Will he forgive you? Will he bring you back into his heart? Will he? Questions you have to answer for yourself. But the truth of the matter is that her blood cries out, man, that her life is gone. It will never be replaced. The truth of the fact is this: what you mistook for was an absolute angel, was the apple of her mom and dad's eye, was the breath that they breathed, that they spent and cultivated all their life raising and growing. And she is gone forever with your all over her. And that's the truth, man. Okay? It's brutal. It's hard to say. It's hard to sit in here. But you got to face it before you can look your God in the eye and ask for that forgiveness and be able to receive it. That's the heart I want to see in that letter. Not graphic depictions, but the heart of a man broken, right? That you look and you can see what you've done and you can begin to rebuild.
Edwin had a loving wife, a stable job, and a faith he could have leaned on to build a meaningful life. But instead, he let his dark instincts take control and destroyed everything. And this reality of his is only made worse when he attempts to explain it.
So, I think all throughout my life, I have struggled with somehow the urge to kill. But what has helped me not develop that, in a sense, was when I married my wife. it kind of dissipated because I had something to look forward to. Before that, I didn't have nothing to look forward to.
If that wasn't mind-boggling enough, what Edwin does next would surely send you over the edge.
I fail you. I fail my community. I fail everyone, including my family. I am really sorry. I beg you. A man like me doesn't deserve the job I had, and I will never have it again. The COCC. No one has to pay for my evil doing. Every officer on the campus are great men and women. I am sorry to my community. I am sorry because I fail you. I am sorry for wearing the badge. I am sorry for ever being part of CPS. I ask the college and community to forgive me. I am sorry, Jim Bennett. I fail you. May Kaylee Sawyer rest in peace.
We will never know whether this remorse in him is genuine, but what we do know is Edwin will never walk free. On May 23, 2018, Edwin Lara pleaded guilty to the aggravated murder of Kaylee Sawyer. The courtroom was silent as her family sat through the brutal details. Lara showed no emotion and had no apology. His defense leaned on mental instability, claiming evil got a hold of him. But the jury didn't flinch. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Justice was served, but for Kaylee's family, the pain will never fade. Kaylee Sawyer was only 23 years old when her life was taken in the most brutal way imaginable. She was bright, full of promise, and loved deeply by her family and friends. This case is a reminder that behind every headline, there's a real person whose story deserves to be remembered. And to Andrea Mays, who endured unspeakable trauma and survived, your courage in the face of terror is nothing short of extraordinary. As we conclude this case, we're left staring into the void Edwin Lara created. A man with a steady job, a loving wife, a life so ordinary it could have been yours or mine. But in a single night, everything changed. He said evil got a hold of him. But can evil really take over just like that? Or was it already living inside him, hiding beneath the surface, waiting for a moment of weakness to strike? And then there's Andrea, a 19-year-old girl who faced a monster and outsmarted him. How many others would have made it out alive? We often think we know who the monsters are, that they look a certain way. But what happens when they wear a uniform, attend church, kiss their wives goodnight? This case forces us to ask, how well do we ever really know someone? What if the greatest evil is the one that hides in plain sight?